Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon, Logan, and new guest NintenDaan are getting together to broadcast the Nintendo Stuff podcast live using their telepathic powers. My name is Brandon Miracle, and if you look south of me in the video version, you'll see Logan Welliver brooding.
Yes.
I was waiting for the follow-up. And if you look to the right of me in the video version, you'll see our special guest, NintenDaan. Welcome, Don.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
He
Hey,
tickled
what's
the
up?
ears. Tickled the ears of our audience.
ASMR Don is here. Hello, everybody. Coming right at you for the Ethernet.
Logan. This is episode 38 of Nintendo Stuff.
38? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really 38?
I'm pretty sure. I hope I'm
How
not
soon?
wrong.
How soon are we gonna pass breakdown episodes?
The breakdown is somewhere in the early 40s, I want to say,
Yeah.
and we're currently on our way to passing that up. Because for those of you who are relatively new here, the show started as Breakdown Podcast with a very different focus. And then about 5 or 6 months into that, we added the Nintendo Stuff Podcast because usually our show would devolve into us talking about Nintendo stuff anyway. Hence the name. So now we have 2 podcasts, and this is the one that where we talk about Nintendo.
Yay.
So that's a quick history lesson. Dream Drop Sora or Santi in the chat says, "Oh, it's Paul. Oh wait, you're not Paul. No, Paul's not here today.
Paul's not here today.
Paul is currently
Oops.
at home visiting his parents in Wisconsin. So we're letting him take a small vacation.
We're letting him.
We're allowing him.
So instead, you
need our
got
permission. Paul, just let us know when you get back so we can force you to do the Nintendo Stuff podcast.
So instead, you got a Dutch guy. Yay!
A replacement. I mean, we could have just started the show, called you Paul, and made people wonder. I don't think we would have fooled anyone, but
See,
No.
okay. I'm like ready to go at 11:30, just waiting. I'm like, okay, the guy's gonna get on. I'm like, okay, I'll just message them in the chat. Like, let's see if we can get this together. I'm always early, and if we had these discussions beforehand, see, these things could have been figured out. But now you guys just wasted it. You guys wasted like a really good joke that we could have done for a future episode.
we'll see
You
what
let
we'll
them
do.
in.
We'll pocket the joke and reintroduce it in like 7 years when everyone's forgotten about it, and then
Oh yeah, dude, and we'll like go out and we'll edit out all those parts, so it won't be
Hey,
on the
man.
internet.
Hey, man, the internet time span is very short on the net, about a year.
Well,
Okay,
it's
so we
true,
can go
but
even
they can
sooner.
always dig it back up. So we'll see.
Nobody
Santi-
digs through channels anymore.
I
Gotta go to
don't.
the
I
Wayback
certainly
Machine.
don't.
Well, I guess if you use the Wayback Machine, the unedited video still wouldn't be there because I don't think that's how the internet works.
Oh yeah, no, not the
Hmm.
unedited one. And we could always get rid of it.
So, Don, since you're a guest here, why don't you let our audience know a little bit about what you do?
Sure, I am Daan Koopman. I resonate from the most beautiful country in Europe. Not really, it's fine. Netherlands. I do stuff for Game Explain, Go Nintendo, Nintendo World Report. Also do some local stuff here, but that's not really important for the discussion here, is it? But yeah, I mostly do Nintendo stuff. Sometimes, if necessary, say on the Game Explain side or anywhere else, I do a little bit of Xbox. Never been much of a PlayStation guy, but mostly I focus on Nintendo stuff.
And now you're on the Nintendo Stuff podcast. This is how
Yes.
fate works.
Well, I've been doing Nintendo stuff for 13 years, so that's a little bit different, is it?
Okay, I guess you got us beat by a long shot.
Just
Yes.
a little bit. 13
So
years ago, I was 12. So
I was 16. It feels like forever ago.
yeah, it was forever ago. I mean, for me, that's over half my lifetime. So
Yeah.
So, Don, you actually uploaded a pretty interesting video for Game Explain today. You want to give
Yes,
us a
I did.
little idea about that?
Sure. So this week, it's for. Oh frick! Ah no!
You
Oh.
good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Welcome back.
Well, for some reason, my My thing stopped. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Professionalism, yay!
That's what
There we
it's
go.
all about here on the Nintendo
Yes.
podcast. We never get off track, and we're always just like, super, super focused on.
We've
on
definitely
the matter at
not
hand.
had to start the episode over mid live stream before.
Definitely never happened.
Yeah. For some reason, my laptop turned off. I'm back. So there we go. Let me start from the beginning. So, I had a video over on Game Explain regarding Zelda VR, which came out this week together with Odyssey VR. The thing is with Zelda VR, it works a little bit different than that, because with Zelda VR, you can still activate VR goggles mode while docked. You cannot use the camera that way because basically it uses the gyroscope in the Switch to recognize where you are, but you can still do this more static mode that specific way. So you activate that, turn off gyroscope, and then I figured, why don't I plug it into the PlayStation VR and see if that works? I saw a little rumors about that on a Reset Era, and I was like, let's try this. It requires a lot of specific steps with the PlayStation VR breakout box, which connects the thing to power, to the PlayStation 4, and what have you. But for example, you have to remove the cable, the HDMI cable that connects the headset to the breakout box, and instead of that, you need to plug in that specific HDMI cable from the headset into the Switch. So there's a lot of little weird intricacies that you have to do before that even works totally and fine. But once you get all that stuff set up, and it will take a little while, then basically you're playing a higher quality version, a docked version of Zelda in VR.
So that's taking when Zelda's docked, it's a 900p signal, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're even getting a little bit more resolution out of it too.
Yep. So basically, it sends out a 900p signal towards the headset then in that specific matter, which is higher quality than the Switch screen itself in handheld mode. It is sort of nuts how well this works. I was like playing it for a half hour. It's like, this is nuts. This is crazy. And it's something that I realized with other apps. Like, for example, you can trick the YouTube app that way. You can trick other specific apps that way. But they never tried it with a Switch game before. And it's only possible because, Zelda got it updated this week. And we didn't know how the VR would work. And basically, when it comes down to it, you could just trick it in sending it to that signal to somewhere else.
Wow. And does it result in a more immersive experience than just using a Labo VR?
It allows for a more free experience because you're basically not holding onto a headset and can have a controller in your hand. So I was just playing it with a Pro controller and it felt honestly pretty good.
So if you're someone who wanted to play the Labo VR update for Breath of the Wild, but you haven't bought a Labo headset yet, and you just happen to have a PSVR,
Yeah.
technically you can already do it.
Technically, you could already play it in a slightly better way, yeah.
That's yeah, it kind of makes me wish I felt like dropping 200 300 on like a PlayStation VR, outside of like some of the other experiences that I've talked about on the show before, primarily Beat Saber. If I could just play Beat Saber, everything would be good. But like with the added benefit of, I actually have a headset to play like this game on, in 3D. It kind of reminds me of the time, Brandon, that we got together to play Vive and just sat down and played a bunch of VR games.
Yeah.
Well, games in VR, doing like Metroid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But obviously
the GameCube games?
Yeah, because it's kind of like the same idea, like VR experiences are primarily like first person and they don't function exactly the same as like other games. It's just like a different space. So like, I still kind of have this thing like, you're going to throw this like VR experience like on top of this experience that just is kind of meant for a screen. And there can be some translation issues, but at the same time, you get to view it in 3D, and that's cool. I like as much as people are like, oh yeah, the 3D on the 3DS gives me a headache, or maybe it's just like I don't really care for it. It doesn't really add anything. Like I really, really enjoy having that depth of field. Like it really does add something to that. And then
also,
on top,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, and then on top of like all of that, just like even the question of like, okay, with the Switch, you know, you're only getting so much resolution, and I've experienced VR, right? My brother had a Vive. He recently sold it in preparation to buy an Index when the pre-orders go up. But like you can still see like that screen door effect, you know? And so like you lower the resolution, and that's just gonna get like, you know, more sketchy as it goes down. So I was always wondering like, okay, is there really enough resolution to have like a decent experience? Like, is that worthwhile? And certainly it's inexpensive, you know. If you have a Switch and you have Zelda, just go out and spend $40 on the starter kit, and there you go, you know.
Yeah, at the same time, I do feel that the level of VR experiences are more made for that software. And they do a really good job of it, and it's really fun. But I wouldn't want to play specifically different games if I didn't have to, because like the Blaster game is 10 times more fun than playing the free missions in Odyssey.
I looked at the free missions available in Odyssey because I don't have a Labo VR yet, and I'm still like not sure that's an investment I want to make yet. But
I think it's the only Labo set that it's actually worth the money
for the whole kit.
Yeah.
See, that's tempting. And initially, I was more tempted to get Labo VR because they announced the updates for Odyssey and Zelda. And now that those are out and I'm hearing what people are saying, it kind of lessened my enthusiasm a little bit. But at the same time, hold
up. I'm going to grab something.
Oh. Don is doing a...
Okay, so while Don's grabbing that, I'll just say like a $40 doesn't sound like a lot to me. Like, especially with what you're getting, especially if you're getting that kind of game, and then you're going to get these continual VR experiences that they're just going to throw in.
Look how cool this looks.
It does look cool. I really like it. Like, and like I should say that I wasn't just necessarily excited. I think it was like the marriage of you know, the actual idea of just doing like some simple VR stuff. Like I love the idea of like the elephant and being able to draw in a 3D space. Like I'm a huge fan of Tilt Brush.
The elephant works really well too.
Yeah, and so like that's just crazy to me that they can pull off some of this stuff with what they've built, you know.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And so giving you that freedom in that 3D space, even though it may be less resolution, but like if I'm able to say like, okay, I'm going to just like hold it up to my face, but then have another thing and then draw on a 3D space, just having like a little, you know, thing by my side instead of having to plug in a headset and get all set up, which is alternatively is really great, but I also don't have the room for like actually I don't necessarily say I should have a room for a Vive. I could do a standing experience, but I digress. I mean, like $40 does not seem like a lot. Also, that also depends on your income, right? If you're not doing too well, or you just don't work, maybe you're younger and you don't have like a regular income, that might be a little bit different, but that's not it for me. Like I have like $40 of expendable income. That's like nothing. And then for what it offers to me, I'm like, no, that seems like
and if you like it, you can always buy the 2 extra kits down the line.
Yeah, and then you know, on a
move on Nintendo's
also
part.
on a technicality, if you buy all of them separate, it's 2 cents cheaper than the complete pack.
2 entire cents cheaper.
Yeah, so I mean, technically, they're taking a loss by selling it separately. I mean, you got to give them props.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, sure. Going back to the previous point about PlayStation VR, I think that PlayStation VR is also in a way better place than it was 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Because it's cheaper. There's also bundles where you get like 4 or 5 games with it these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mega bundles, is that what they're called? But also, like, the software that's coming out for it is way more interesting. Like, I feel that, for example, Sony's London studio are making a few really interesting pitches with that. I think Dreams will also support it, like the future game where you can create your own games, which looks insane. And also recently, like, a game from the people over at Thunderful, which also own like Image and Form, Rising Star Games, what have you. They released a game called Ghost Giant, which is the most adorable VR game I've played, and it's exclusive to PlayStation VR.
Man, there's been so many exclusives on PSVR that have had me like close to biting the bullet on that.
What was the one that got like fantastic reviews just recently?
Was it
I think
Astrobot?
Astrobot.
Oh, Astrobot. Yeah, that's also a really great game. Like, very much a platformer with a 3D sense of space. So it does a lot of cool tricks with that, and I think that's so cool. It's really fun.
See, because I have a Vive here at my house, and obviously that's far more expensive than the PSVR, but because of that, there's not a lot of adopters in comparison to the PSVR. PSVR is doing really well, and that's where all the developers are going. So I'm missing out on a lot of those core experiences, because I've been a VR owner for...
It's not even just core. I think that Ghost Giant is a game that anybody can pick up and play. But it's a lot more spread out in what they do regarding to software. And it's the only side currently that I really love about the PlayStation 4. I don't really am the biggest fan of the PlayStation 4, to be honest. Especially how management of Sony is handling certain subject matters as of late. But it's one of the sides that I still appreciate a lot about the PlayStation 4 and still actively play the PlayStation 4 for. Because I think that space, at the very least, is very experimental and interesting.
And, speaking of experimental, do we think this is kind of a first step for Nintendo with VR? Where are they going to go from here?
No, this is already the second step.
The second step?
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they would have gotten here if they hadn't taken the first step. Not to mention the Virtual Boy existed, and obviously that's not exactly the same. But I mean, this is what Nintendo's been looking to do since forever: make a more immersive, a more interesting, and more fun experience. And again, like, there's tons of steps taken in the background. So I mean, they've already got this planned out. This is just, them testing the waters, a way to get VR out there that's going to be really, really accessible. Most people still haven't even touched or tried VR, and if they have, it's just been on like, their phones and like a Samsung Gear or something like that.
Yeah.
And so like, people are looking for a deeper experience.
Hey guys, remember the Samsung Gear? That's no longer a thing, is it?
Man, like, I was talking to somebody the other day and they were saying like, yeah, I got an Oculus Go, and like, it was cool. You get some of these movie experiences and some of these visual experiences and maybe some really simple games.
I was like 2 times tempted by an Oculus Go and was like, this looks kind of interesting. I don't know.
No, I don't know what the next baseline is for like a really good, like, but like good VR experience that's not too expensive. Probably the Oculus Quest. That'll be coming out soon. Don't have to have a PC, but it's still capable of some of those like room scale experiences that aren't too like visually demanding. But a lot of them are like that. So
yeah,
I don't even know how we got here. How did we get here? Why are we? I mean, we're talking about PlayStation VR.
I mean, that's because of the Zelda VR thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's also the best way to experience Zelda in VR, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I think people should buy this. And I haven't even bought it yet. But in the sense of, like, if you like VR and you want Nintendo to do more VR, and I am all about, like, Nintendo do more VR. So, this is really a personal crusade. Of mine, because we really need this. We need Metroid to be first person VR. And so when the Nintendo Switch just evolves into this like all encompassing entertainment device that also has like, a headset attachment that, is super high resolution and, And then it's got like a full body like haptic feedback suit and
I think if they did a proper VR headset, it could also open the way for doing what they tried to do with Ryu with is asymmetrical multiplayer again.
oh yeah, I mean there's even something like thinking about like simpler experiences in VR, just having that like a separate display and be able to play with that.
Think of the WarioWare
Keep talking and nobody
possibilities.
explodes.
Yeah.
So
But also, maybe Nintendo Land VR.
Yes, please.
oh
A Nintendo Land sequel that really shows off what VR could do, I think, is a perfect like entry point for that, especially with that asymmetrical gameplay concept, because it gets everybody involved.
I miss the Wii U for that reason because we lost that. Like it.
Yeah.
Like
Well, the Wii U is also bleeding eShop games at the moment. For some reason, for some reason, and this is a side story. For some reason, a lot of the big eShop games are losing their licenses and are removed from the eShop on Wii U.
Is that something that's been happening?
Yeah, so all the interesting games that also use the gamepad are now being removed.
Are they just trying to like bury that entire concept? Because the Nintendo Switch is already perfectly capable of doing the same thing as long as there are multiple Switches in the same room.
Yeah, but it's a very situational experience, is it?
It is, but I don't think it's as hard to do as it was with, say, Four Swords Adventures on GameCube, where everybody needed a Game Boy Advance, you needed a GameCube, 4 link cables. There's a lot of Switches out there, like 35 million right now. So I think it's becoming more commonplace. So maybe as they sell more units, we can start getting in on those kinds of experiences again. At least I'd like to see that happen.
I'm not sure if Nintendo themselves would dedicate time to that, though.
Yeah, probably not, but I think there's still precedence for it with games like Pac-Man Versus, which is already available on it.
Yeah.
They're coming out with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, a remaster of that, and I think eventually there will be some kinds of Four Swords experience available, or Triforce Heroes sequel, something like that.
Well, Triforce Heroes was dead when it arrived.
Yeah, it was. I bought it, I enjoyed it, but I know it was not the most.
Did you even get to play through it with anybody?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I got to do it because I was reviewing it. That's the only way I got to play it with anybody.
See, I played it with my wife and then one of my friends. We all went on it at the same time and just played through it together. So I guess yeah, I was just lucky in that case. I know a lot of people weren't as much. Same thing with Federation Force.
Right.
And those two weren't even that bad of games. They were fun. And that's the shame of it. Like, you are building games around 3DS multiplayer and wanting people to play together. But that is very commonplace in Japan and not so much in Europe and North America.
Right. And that's why Monster Hunter is so popular over there, especially back when it was on PSP.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it wasn't like very online, and when it was it was online.
Yeah, there was some kind of like ad hoc, like kind of backwards way.
You needed to connect the ad hoc, I think, to the PlayStation 3,
and then bounce your PSP through it. It was the same way that it worked on Wii U for Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate.
Yeah.
So, guys, we've also had some other interesting things happen this week. Specifically,
what? No, we didn't. VR is the only interesting thing. Nothing actually happened this week. Nothing happened. Just VR.
Oh, you're right. I guess the show's over then. So I want to thank everybody for listening. No. Nintendo did their April 2019 financial briefing.
You carry on, boy.
For those who are listening to this, Don just pointed his VR blaster at me, and I feel very threatened. So we got some interesting tidbits. Nintendo certainly came out of this with a lot of strong swings. I feel like they were very confident in their release of this information. They announced that Switch has officially sold more than a Nintendo 64. I think it's just shy of 35 million right now. It's probably over that now, but
yeah.
It was right around there. It's great to see Switch have so much sales momentum. Think about where the Wii U was when it died, And think about where Switch is now.
You
like
mean
2 years
1
in.
year in?
Pretty much. But
Yeah, it's amazing how things can sell when they're actually fun.
well, that's a low blow because we had a lot of fun with Nintendo Land.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, but a lot of people didn't. Wasn't a very fun value proposition except for all those Nintendo fanboys.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I know
fall
even
into that
Nintendo fans who
category.
didn't buy the Wii U, though.
Oh yeah,
I'm a
me too.
Nintendo fan. I didn't buy the Wii U. It was just
Uh.
at that point I was like, nope, I'm not.
The other
dedicating
regular
that
member of
capital.
our podcast, Paul, didn't buy a Wii U until like 2 years before the Switch came out, and I don't think he hardly played it at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, because I mean at this point like it's kind of self-evident, like half of these games got ported to the Switch. And then the other half will also be ported to the Switch, or just have like superior sequels, you know?
Splatoon
Like,
2, Mario Maker
yeah.
2, Smash
But
Ultimate.
it's very interesting looking at the console pace per region, because Japan is benefiting the most of the Switch right now, where I believe it's somewhere above what we did, but it's still lower than 3DS and DS, but mostly because it's this weird hybrid of stuff that they don't know what to feel yet, but it's still higher than Wii, which is surprising considering how well it's sold in the two other regions in Europe and North America. But it's a good place to have. Like, you can still tout it as the best-selling Nintendo console in the last number of years. With North America, it's now... That's the second highest momentum of the last 5 systems, with the only exception being Wii. And I think with Europe, it's somewhere in the middle in the moment. I'm going to double check that. Yeah, it's slightly lower than DS. It's higher than 3DS and Wii U. But you have to realize that DS and Wii are very close to each other in Europe, so it's still in a very good place.
And if those are the systems that are above your current system, I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, they Switch is certainly in a good place right now, especially seeing that their momentum has stayed so high for so long, and it seems to not be slowing down a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And their games are doing really well. I thought this particular fact was interesting. They said that 26% of first-time Switch players, like the first game they played when they bought their system, 26% of those people, that game was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah, so you have to realize how many Switches sold when Ultimate came out, which we could have seen in the last financial briefing, where a bunch of Switches sold all at once in that very small window when they talked about it in January.
Yeah.
But it's still impressive how much the other games are in this list, because second, I think, was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 16%.
Yep.
And then Pokemon Let's Go with 13%. So Let's Go also being a recent game, that still shows that those two games drove a lot of momentum, especially in the last 2 months of last year.
Yeah, their new games are actually converting people and making them buy systems, and that's exactly what they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's
for the third game being in that period was Super Mario Party. Still surprising with 6% being still in the top 7-8.
I think that game's performance overall just surprised everyone.
Oh, yeah, it did for sure.
I think it certainly instilled confidence back in Nintendo to continue making those games.
But if you combine all of those numbers together, that means that 45% of new console owners have played it with a new game that came out between October and December.
That's pure insanity. I've seen some people say that, the Switch was like on a down slope and losing momentum. That's just not the case, especially when you put these numbers up against it.
Yeah.
And I would assume that's only going to get better with Blake the Nerd here. He says Pokemon Sword and Shield, obviously, that one's going to be a big one. Animal Crossing.
For sure, yeah.
Those two
Animal
alone,
Crossing is like one of the bigger franchises in Japan, and Pokemon is the biggest franchise worldwide. So those two games alone should drive most of the momentum this year. Like I know that people say, for example, say Mario Maker, and Mario Maker is a good call. Like, don't get me wrong, Mario Maker is a great game that will drive also that creator community over from Wii U to Switch. But in terms of actually driving like the biggest momentum this year, I think that is Animal Crossing and Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, it's clear why Mario Maker releases in June, and the other two games are presumably releasing at the end of the year for holiday sales. They have faith in Mario Maker, but that's not their big money maker.
Yeah, I feel that Mario Maker will do fine all on its own. Because they are targeting Mario Maker also at the consumer base that have them, because a lot of those Mario Let's Players already had a Switch due to Odyssey. So that community is technically already there on Switch, but moving that over with all the levels that they have and level creation and the drive with that momentum within that community, it's good to have that game there.
Yeah, Mario Maker is basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you have content creators who are playing people's levels on their streams, or they're creating levels in a public view. People are liking levels and making the game bigger as time goes on. It's a game that sells itself.
It basically, what comes down to this momentum is having pockets of communities there, because in the slide that talks about the first game that they played, they also mentioned that the majority of new players on Switch were in their late 20s, early 30s. So basically, it's the Smash community.
Yeah. Speaking of Smash, Smash is now the best-selling game in the series. I think we all expected that.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. You know, it's funny because it's still kind of jarring. It's jarring because all these games do so well, and all these games do better than you would have expected. Outside of like some of the like, oh, we know Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is going to sell well, even though it's like, oh my gosh, this is an enhanced port and it's sold almost 17 million.
An enhanced port that finally has a good battle mode.
Oh yeah, no, I love the battle mode. They're like, I love what they're doing with. I love Mario Kart 8. I think I put like 60 hours into it. Super Mario Odyssey is incredible. Legend of Zelda, so on and so forth. And so yeah, it's just wow, what an incredible amount. Like I even was like, okay, Super Mario Party, because I knew it crossed over 1 million, which I'm like, that's actually pretty good, like on average. For a Mario Party game, I think with the exception of like maybe Mario Party 8, but that was also released on the Wii. And
I wonder,
sold like a ton.
Where are the sales of Super Mario Party at? I've not checked that.
It's at 6.4 million.
Super Mario Party?
Super Mario Party, 6.4.
That means that it's currently the second highest Mario Party title to date.
Yeah, that would make it behind Mario Party 8.
Yeah.
Which is super awesome, but also kind of frustrating because I really just want them to add full online into that game, because that would be the moment where I'm like, this isn't a question of whether I still get this game or not, because it's not like I have a ton of friends to play like Super Mario Party with. So
well,
just
I
having
wonder,
like
I wonder how much Nintendo perceived Super Mario Party as a risk. They did headline it in their E3 presentation when it was first announced.
It's I mean, a correction. It's the third now. Number one is Mario Party DS at 9.31.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count. The DS game.
No, Mario Party DS is a really good Mario Party.
Yeah, but it doesn't count. It's just like the 3DS games. Nobody
and then
pays
Super
attention.
Mario Party doesn't then count either, because it's not called Mario Party number.
No, that's not my justification. The justification is it's a party game, right? And like gathering like with like all your consoles is like one thing, but like gathering all like in the same room in front of a big old screen, like that's a Mario Party right there. And that may be petty of me. That may be petty of me.
That's super petty,
like,
to be honest.
Yeah,
it may be petty, but like at the same time, like no, none of the
I think
they don't count.
I think that DS counts, to be honest. Second is Mario Party 8 with 8.85 million, and then now Super Mario Party is the third biggest sales Mario Party of all time.
Yeah. No, and see, this is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it is a risk because like they might be just another flop. It might just be like, oh, here's Mario Party 10, and everybody's like, great, another numbered Mario Party.
They very carefully marketed that game as a return to form, and they also rebranded Mario Party altogether as Super
No,
Mario
and that's
Party.
and that's great. Obviously, they pulled a lot of great things. Like the actual like gameplay, I've never been more in love with Mario Party because they still were able to like balance some of that like chaotic like RNG like elements
Yeah.
like that are essential to that experience. They can't all just be skill. But like having like a little bit more of a strategy about how you're proceeding, that was really cool to me, and it felt really fresh.
Also,
Again,
no
my literally my
No
biggest
car.
objection is that I can't just play these boards online with my friends, and I don't know why. Right? Like it's just that's a very Nintendo thing to do. It's like they haven't lost it all. They're still very much Nintendo. They're
Well,
gonna
maybe they
they're gonna
considered
screw
that an
something
investment
up,
not
even
worth
if it's really
making.
small.
If they consider that an investment not worth making at the time because they didn't know how the game would perform, that I could understand.
Right. No, it's understandable, but at the same time, it's like, man, you guys are already jumping in. You guys can afford a loss, you know? And especially for something like
Yeah.
that, just like kind of adding that, it's like, okay, we might be spending a little bit more, but we're also charging money for our, services now. So maybe we should just like by default throw in some more on. And it's not like it doesn't have online
Hey man,
capabilities.
hey man, are you saying that Nintendo's doing a really good job with their online services?
They should do better.
That long sigh says it all.
Hey, my most played game on the Switch is Splatoon 2 with over 800 hours in it.
Oh,
And-
dang.
And
Okay.
and let's be real with each other. They have still not figured out a solution to back up my freaking save file.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
'Cause
kind of
they-
dead in the water.
That justification was like not enough. It was like, no, this isn't like
That's
nobody
a bad justification. in
nobody does that.
2019.
Nobody does that. Who does that? And then if you're like, okay, this is our reason for not doing it. Okay, you just gave everybody the idea. Now if you do it, people are going to abuse it because they know how they can abuse it. But nobody thinks, how do I abuse cloud saves for online gain? And if they do it, you just ban them.
There's
If you
got to
can
be a
get-
way to build a system of checks to prevent that.
Yeah,
I'm sure they could figure it out.
okay, cool. Just build that. But like, don't take that away from us. No, I'm with you there because I have over 200 hours in Splatoon 2. So like losing that would
It's
be
so
like awful.
freaking dumb.
It's so
dumb.
There's no good reason that you can't back up your save.
Mhm.
No good reason.
I also feel that they made the Smash Online worse.
That I disagree almost completely.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. Would you prefer setting your rules match by match, a la Wii U, or would you go into a room thinking, hey, I want to change the rules, having to close the stadium, making a new stadium from the rules menu, opening it up and say, hey, I made a new room, let's start this over with?
Well, that was the part where it was almost 100%. See, like, for me, playing with anyone is where I do most of my Smash Online, and I like the way that's set up as compared to For Fun and For Glory. I know a lot of people aren't having a lot of success with that. I haven't, unfortunately, been seeing...
Yeah, but
I haven't,
I just want to play a match with a friend. It's a very convoluted process that I don't really like.
That,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
100% agree
yeah,
with, yes.
they're definitely, they could make those changes. Like, not that they will, but Nintendo's listened before,
They
and
might.
obviously they might. I mean, the fact that we kind of guessed half of what Arena was going to be before they revealed it was like, oh, Nintendo actually knows what they're doing, at least to a certain degree. So I don't know what they would have to go through, but yeah, I mean, that it would be so much more convenient just to be able to be like, okay, I'm changing the rules, just on the fly without having to go through a whole process of closing an arena and then opening it back up, So
the fact that we can just make a lobby with 3 other people and just make rules like we did on Wii U to switch them between back and forth is weird to me.
Or at the very least...
You did
like,
this on Wii U.
If there was a... so, like, you can set if your battle arena is public or... like, there's different settings for that. If you set a battle arena for friends only, that should enable you the ability to change the rules on the fly. I can understand if they don't want to do that for a public setting, so that you don't enter a room that's like a standard competitive set, and then the person changes it before the match starts to like crazy items and that kind of thing. If that's not what you're looking for,
That would be me. That would be me. I would be that guy.
So if you could do that in a private, friend-only setting, I think that would be a great compromise.
No, very much true.
Nintendo also reiterated some of the games coming out later this year. We talked about a little bit: Sword and Shield, Mario Maker 2, Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and they also said, and more yet unannounced, because E3 hasn't rolled around yet. So
It's crazy to think about, huh?
yeah, like Logan and I have been talking about how stacked 2018 has been since like September of stacked 2019 is since back in like September of 2018, because they set themselves up really well way ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were like, here's some key games that we know you're gonna get, like, you know, a handful of them that like really are a great proposition overall, and then in addition to that, you know, they're not revealing everything right off the bat. You know they're gonna drop some like bigger here and there, and just much closer to those releases. Also, all you needed to do is just announce Animal Crossing, and I already can tell that 2019 is going to be the best Nintendo year.
It's
like,
weird
ever.
how they are pivoting this year, because the first half seems rather empty. Like outside of Yoshi, a port of Mario U, Labo VR, and now Mario Maker in June, the first half seemed sort of empty.
Oh, and the occasional update to a already released game.
But the second half seems like they're releasing something every single month for no apparent reason whatsoever.
So
with the
backloaded.
absolute highlight being freaking July. On June 28th, because basically that's 2 days before July, Super Mario Maker 2. You have Fire Emblem, you have Marvel, and you have what's the last one? There's one more in July. Oh yeah, Dragon Quest Builders 2, which is also published by Nintendo. So you have 4 Nintendo published games in 5 weeks.
That's insanity. I mean, yeah, because I plan on buying all those games at launch, so I might have to do some saving up. But
I have never felt more compelled to buy a Fire Emblem game. So, I mean, I'm picking that up when it drops.
It's interesting how many games are coming out basically only in July alone, also with third-party games, what have you, because it feels like a lot of those third-party games, including, say, God Eater by Bandai Namco and some of those other games, all coming out in July.
And isn't summer usually like a lull for releases too?
In America, yeah. In Japan, usually they post a lot of releases during that month.
Okay.
In Europe, it sort of depends on what Japan is doing. Because here's the thing: for example, when the regular 3DS XL launched, we still got the same stuff that Japan did, but then America got it all a month later.
Oh. Yeah, I guess obviously our perspective is different because we live in America, but yeah, it seems like summer is always a lull for us, so this is certainly like out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but the last 2 years, considering they pulled the release dates more worldwide, I feel that a lot more games also came out in the summer in Americas.
Yeah, that's true. And with the Switch being region free, that's only going to happen more and more often.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to wait around.
But this July, be ready to have your wallet be emptied by the end of July. So rip Astral Chain.
Oh, I forgot about Astral Chain. At least that's out in August.
This is the beauty of this lineup. You forget about all the games because there's too many to keep track of. That's, in some ways, a great thing.
It's a great
In
problem
other ways, not so much. You know? It's expensive. I don't have all the time in the world to play all these games. I already have a back catalog that's been building for like a decade now. You know, like these are the things, like too many things. But at the same time, I'm never gonna run out of. There's always something to play. I just bought The Room 3 on my phone to play through it.
Great game.
And like again, there's no shortage of games to play.
I just hope that all these games releasing in the same window don't adversely affect all of their initial sales impact, because it's going to be hard for a lot more, enthusiasts to buy all of them than say maybe like 2 or 3 of them.
I think that Fire Emblem Mario Maker will be fine. The rest I'm not so sure about.
Yeah,
it really depends on like their overlap. Obviously, for the really big enthusiasts who just want all of them, it's going to be a struggle. But like how much of that is made up of how many people actually bought like a particular game, or is it just the RPG enthusiasts who are going to buy Fire Emblem and they never planned on buying Super Mario Maker, and so on.
Yeah, but it's also interesting that because basically they are paying for the localization of Dragon Quest Builders 2, so there's no PlayStation 4 version. This is the only version coming out in the West, and also with Marvel. They paid money to develop that and bought the rights likely from Activision. So they're putting a lot of money solely in July.
Yeah, it's such a strange thing, isn't it? That they would focus it all at this one spot, especially when we had a year that was like so backloaded where nothing came out, well, very little came out in the first like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's how the cookie crumbles.
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird,
I know. I mean, I'm used to like November having a lot of releases, but for it to be in July, it's just not what I would expect.
Yeah.
Over 9.8 million Switch Online memberships are currently active, including family memberships. So you have to consider that some of these accounts are multiple accounts.
Yeah. How many people? Like 8 people?
8 people.
8 people max on family membership. Yeah.
Wi-Fi network. You can reconnect to Wi-Fi from your Google Home app.
Jesus Christ! Thanks, Google.
Is muted.
Thanks.
Cheers, Google.
So yeah, like me and Logan and 6 other people are all in together in a family membership. So if I'm reading this right, we count for one of the 9.8 million. Is that correct?
I guess so, because it's all. Unless like the metric is there's 9.8 million people online included in a membership, right? Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's the clarification I'm looking for with this.
Yeah. So
I think that this is like this counts for every member that's connected for a membership.
Okay.
So they're counting users instead of actual subscriptions.
Got it.
That's what I would have thought. I mean, honestly, that's like a third, well, a little less than a third of all the Switches out there right now, of the like 35 million.
Yep.
Honestly, that's not too bad. It's not terrible. Especially with the amount of time, it took how long for the online service to finally get here.
Got delayed like twice, I think.
Yeah. So and obviously like the low price point is a huge thing. Like $20 for a year, that's not a lot.
Yeah, it's also if you count in the family membership, which is like $6-7 per user.
I think
it's even less than that. Yeah,
How much is
because if you divide it by 7, say you have 7, everybody's paying $5, so it's less than $5 if you have 8 people all pooling in as a family.
Gotcha.
So
I think between the
Find yourself
8
a
of us,
family.
it came to like $4.30 something cents. It was like crazy cheap. And they also add in that 2.8 million of those people have played Tetris 99. So under a third of the subscriptions are taking advantage of that special offer.
But also, that's not going to draw everybody. Not everybody's going to be like, "Oh, free Tetris game, of course I'm going to play it." Some people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to play Tetris," right?
Right.
Maybe that'll change, and maybe there are people who aren't aware of it. Maybe there's some families who are just like, "What's an online offer?"
Some people only buy it for Smash.
Right. So,
I'm a little curious because they also failed to mention how many players are using the NES Online app, And I'm wondering if that's because they're embarrassed about it.
Honestly, I don't think it'll grow all that much until they start throwing SNES games on there.
Yeah. But I thought that was kind of interesting to point out. I don't know how that compares to like PSN and Xbox Live in comparison to their user bases, because those accounts are like global across their hardware, as to where this is only on Switch. So that's kind of hard to gauge in comparison. But for what it's worth, I don't think it's too bad considering their value proposition isn't super great at the moment.
By the way, I'm looking at their statements regarding Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online. Great name, by the way. Such a great name. And they said from Nintendo Switch Online members are also enjoying Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online. It gives members instant access to a variety of classic NES games with added online play. They said nothing about the numbers about NES Online.
They just glazed right over that.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, they can play NES games. Cool, let's move on.
But 3 million people are playing Tetris. How about that?
Yeah. Exactly.
So a few more interesting things. I think this is a really big one. Switch is launching in China. They're doing a collaboration with Tencent to release the hardware there in China. But I think there's an approval process for which software titles can actually be released there.
Yeah.
But that said, I mean, this is nice for people in China because they've struggled with getting video games for a while.
Nintendo, through its subsidiary IQ, sent in 38 applicants for software.
For the Switch? Or
for Switch and other stuff in general, so likely they're publishing anything that comes out on Switch over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good start. I hope that bodes well and that market grows, because it's kind of a dead spot in the video game world.
Mm-hmm.
In the console world.
Mm-hmm. Also, a lot of games already support simplified Chinese through IQ. They already did the translation on some of these games.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes to reason that they already are prepared for a potential Chinese launch.
Yeah. But I was happy to see this happening, as I'm sure many others are as well. And then a couple interesting tidbits. Mario Kart Tour is getting a closed beta starting on May 21st, I think in the US and Japan, for Android users.
Mm-hmm.
For Android users.
RIP iOS.
I just jumped ship on Android. But that being said, my Android phone wouldn't have been able to run whatever they're going to throw out there. I just know it. So
yeah. They also reiterated that Dr. Mario World is early summer, and then Mario Kart Tour is just summer. So both of these games, also on mobile, are summer.
Okay. I think it's interesting that they're doing a beta test for Mario Kart Tour, because I think that just inherently lets us know that there's going to be some kind of online play, because that was kind of up in the air for me. I didn't know... We still don't know the direction for this game, if it's going to be like a proper Mario Kart type experience, or if it'd be something kind of new. But at the very least, I think this means you'll be able to play with other people, which is good.
Yeah, I just kind of want... I'll take a Mario Kart with tilt controls. Just let me tilt my phone.
I'm using tilt controls!
My favorite thing to say in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
It's the best response.
It really is.
Yes. I just spam it all the time. I'm using tilt controls.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I like to pair that one with "What a shame." I'm using tilt controls. What a shame.
What a shame.
The sophistication of communication within a Mario Kart lobby is that really should be like the basis for discourse in just on an international scale. Just okay, anybody's having a debate. Yeah, just have like, it's got to be curated, and you can't trust anybody to say something not nice or do all these ad hominems or whatever. So you just get people bouncing back with, "I'm using tilt controls. What a shame." Whatever else is included in there.
It's all up for interpretation at that point.
Real gamers only use those two responses.
I went to my game code and deleted the other responses.
Wow.
They're the only two on my list.
And then you got to force everybody else into it too, because any other response is absolutely unacceptable.
So this comes as a surprise to no one, I imagine, but Nintendo also reconfirmed they'll be doing a digital video presentation for E3 this year.
Oh my god, are you saying a digital video presentation? I didn't expect that.
I love all
as
the years where
long-
people called it E3 Direct, but they were calling it like their digital event or whatever, and then they finally broke
first
last
year-
year and called it the E3 Direct.
The first year they did it, they called it a Nintendo Direct. It was called a Nintendo Direct at E3 2013.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's been so long that I forgot about that.
2014 was the digital event, 2015 was the digital event, 2016 they didn't do a presentation, only introduction by Reggie with the Breath of the Wild trailer.
Right.
2017 they did the Nintendo E3 Spotlight.
Yep.
And then 2018 they did the second Direct ever at E3.
I'm still waiting for a formal goodbye for Reggie.
I think we had
Like-
it already.
That he already had the formal goodbye.
No.
What are you
not like
expecting?
that.
Are you expecting Pikachu's goodbye
I
song?
wanna
with
have
a trailer
I
of
like
the
a
dramatic.
greatest moment?
Whoa, calm down, gentlemen. Calm down. This isn't too radical. This
The
isn't-
time has
Here's
come.
what needs to happen. Here's
No,
what
stop.
here's what needs to happen. Okay, what's
I'm gonna
gonna
tear up.
happen is I need a scripted, produced passing of the torch. You know, from Reggie to Doug Bowser. It needs to be dramatic. I mean, they could have filmed it as Reggie was, clearing out his office, and we're just waiting to see it. I think it exists. I think it's coming.
He's not going to pass the torch to Doug Bowser. Doug is going to invade Nintendo of America headquarters and steal it from Reggie.
Okay, it's all the same. It's all the same. They're gonna do it in
Dear
some
pesky
dramatic way.
plumbers.
There's gonna be a passing of the torch, and Reggie's gonna say goodbye forever. But then you can find him on Twitter and tell everybody to subscribe to him on Twitter.
Dear pesky plumbers, Nintendo and the Koopalings and I have taken over Nintendo. The company is now a permanent guest at one of my 7 Koopa hotels. Trying to find the games if you can.
I'm just
Hey, you gotta
thinking
help
of like a violent revolution by Doug Bowser and a bunch of Goombas, and just coming through the Nintendo headquarters and just taking over, arresting everybody, and just saying, "This is how it is now." And then he reveals like a new game or something like that.
I wonder if Reggie
the only
Fils-Aimé
way-
is still there, just like outside of the treehouse door.
The only way it should have done is with Pikachu's goodbye song and then Reggie's greatest moments.
Oh man, that I would bawl like a baby. That song kills me every time I watch that episode.
Me too. That's what make it so perfect, though.
See, Brandon, we've talked about this before about how Nintendo should just like hire us to produce some of these things, to make these things happen, or just run the company in general because we're so good at ideas.
I'll make their directs for them if they want.
Yeah, man. But think about how great we can make that. Like there's nothing that Nintendo has released that we couldn't come and say like, yeah, we can do it better. And
I had a running
cocky.
joke a number of years ago. Remember the ambassador certificate on 3DS?
I still have it saved on my
Yeah.
3DS.
So I was like, so if Reggie falls down on the ground, is overheated or something, I will just run to the stage, say look everybody, it's fine. I'm a 3DS ambassador. Run onto the stage and continue the presentation. Guys, everybody, good news. We're confirming today Mario's teaching typing too.
Oh, yes. Yes,
They
and you
are-
have to use the stylus on the
They already
Switch
made
to
teachers
do it.
typing too.
We're also confirming Pokemon Snap 2.
Now that one doesn't exist, but it would be
Not
teachers
yet.
typing 3.
But now
The
that
Reckoning.
we have Labo VR,
Hmm.
it's only a matter of time.
So that's a great cap off to the financial briefing, April 2019. We got a couple stories here at the end we can talk about briefly. Retro is hiring for Metroid Prime 4 development. I think that's just a further idea that, yes, this game is in very early production. Don't
Yes.
expect it for a while.
Yes.
Wait. it's not like they restarted like production on the game, is it?
They have.
Like what? What?
They have.
That's crazy. No.
Yeah, I know.
I just think with the it's been quite a long time now since they made that initial announcement that they were restarting with Retro. So for Retro to be putting out, hiring forums now, I think is kind of interesting, rather than months ago when they made the announcement.
Yeah, hiring people is overrated.
I want to know what's going on over there. I want an inside look. They already teased us with that picture they sent to Reggie with that arm from that character we don't know. So they could have been working on something else.
Wait, long-term plan. Hear me out. A little bit of a background discussion right here on the show. Sneak peek for you guys. Here's what's going to need to happen. We are going to have to get to 10 million subscribers here before a Metroid Prime 4 drops, right? And then we will pressure Nintendo into giving us an exclusive look and producing some content for them once we've hit that point. So that's the aim, Brandon. We're gonna produce content for Nintendo and about.
I was hiding that part of my contract, but I guess it's public knowledge now. So yeah, get us to 10
I'm
million
so
subs
sorry
and
that I
Metroid Prime
outed
4
you.
comes out.
I apologize if you wanted to let everybody else know, but I guess here we are.
Nah.
Oh man, I got hit with a huge hunger pang. Pre-orders for Mario Maker 2, digital or otherwise, will come with a capacitive touchscreen stylus pen, which I think is kind of cool.
The touch pen.
I'll take that.
That's been announced for the UK and Japan. Was that
for
ever
Europe and Japan?
Okay. Was that ever confirmed for America?
No.
Man, I wanted that cool Mario Maker stylus. I hope they do it.
And there's
eventually.
also every retailer in Europe has also an exclusive Mario Maker 2 steel box.
It just makes me feel like we're getting the short end of the stick here in the States.
It's because America sucks.
And also, there's also a special bundle in Europe and Japan where you can buy the game plus a 12-month subscription to Nintendo Switch Online.
That's a good deal.
Which will be temporary for just a limited time. America gets nothing.
Yeah, we get the game. That's it.
Yeah.
There's so many things we don't get. I have a list I've been building.
You mean the Hyrule Warriors scarf?
Or healthcare.
That's a discussion for another podcast. In addition to that, they did reconfirm that there will be no hardware announcements at E3 this year.
Duh.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone expected that.
They barely do it at E3.
Especially for a hardware revision. Have they ever announced a revision at E3?
No, it wasn't as bad as the Nintendo 3DS XL being announced 2 weeks after E3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in its own presentation, and then hopefully it won't be like a 2DS thing where it's one of Nintendo's most watched videos on YouTube, but only because everybody was like, "Wait, did you see this thing?" Hopefully we don't get that oh, the Switch revision's really weird. But they're
gonna drop it a week after E3. I can already tell you that.
Don, what is your take on the whole Switch Mini and Switch remodel? What is your thought on that?
I believe it. There's too much smoke there not to be fire, especially on the Mini side of things. Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure what to think of the other model. I think it will be a slightly upgrade, mostly to stop any security problems they have with the original model, because you can basically hack into the Switch using the slides of the Joy-Cons, where the Joy-Cons slide in.
Didn't they?
So they fixed it technically, but you can still go into it if you just modify the code for it.
Okay.
So I think that they want to have a model that completely removes that. That looks like the standard Switch, but maybe a bit beefier, maybe some changed stuff. But like, I think the focus for them right now is potentially that Switch Mini.
Yeah, especially with Pokemon and Animal
Yeah.
Crossing.
Yeah, I was about
For
to
sure.
say, give us those, primary, like, I want to throw this in my pocket. I want to bring her around with me everywhere, like we do with our phones. If they could just make a phone and throw all their games on there as well, I'll take that.
Or they just make a toy Switch because they're the best toy company in the world.
I mean,
It's
we
true.
already got the 2DS. There's certainly precedent for this already.
Yeah.
And like I said, it makes perfect sense, especially with the games releasing this year.
For sure.
They need to fill that market. Nintendo's strategy for Switch is always to get has always been to get multiple Switches in a singular household, and if they make that easier, they're gonna achieve it better.
Yeah, I might end up having multiple Switches. Like,
Just
it might not
personally?
even. Yeah, it might not even be like a matter of like, I'm gonna trade in my Switch for a different kind of Switch. It's just gonna be, I'm gonna buy another Switch.
You can have your own multiplayer sessions going.
Well, yeah, and then primarily, like, it allows, like, okay, well, I can just log into my user, and then I can download all the same stuff.
I'm gonna be the guy who had like 4 or 5 PlayStation 4s back in the day. I have a Switch in the bedroom. I have a Switch at the toilet. I have a Switch in the office. I have a Switch next to my television.
Well, okay, so here's what would happen. Like, if it was like an improved Switch, like a beefier Switch, that's what I would trade in for, right? But if they also release like a Switch Mini, like a more portable handheld, like specific device,
Cheaper.
yeah, then I'd buy that as well. And then, if I get a dock in my room, and then I get a dock at, out wherever I need it, and then I have my really, really mobile one. But then if I'm at home, like, I'm still gonna pick up my Switch because it's a bigger screen, right?
Yeah,
like,
if I get the option with that Switch Mini, I will likely carry on the Switch Mini and make that's my primary account on all fronts, so I can just carry it around very easy, and make the regular Switch just the secondary account with always be connected on the internet.
Yeah, like, you could just always have it in the dock if you want to take it out. Also, like, I'm one to, like, if I have stuff, like, I want other people to also use it for the most part. There's certain things like off limits, but like, if I just leave my Switch out there, somebody wants to play Switch, like, yeah, go at it. Play some Smash Bros. Bring your friends over. Play some Smash Bros. Do anything with Smash Bros. Like,
go to Denny's and go play Smash Bros.
Yeah, go play Smash Bros. Have a rooftop party. Play Smash Bros.
Go to TGI Fridays and play Smash Bros.
Man, there's just so many places you could play Smash Bros. Like, it's just really.
This is the secret MO, is to get people who already own a Switch to buy another one for themselves. Not even like counting other people in the household.
Yeah, and then not even like considering, like, if if you are like a family of Switch owners and you haven't bought your kids, but there's like a cheaper, smaller Switch that's going to be more accustomed to their hands, and then just, again, more durable and more portable, you get them that one, instead. And then, obviously still get a way that you can plug it in, like, maybe it's compatible with the original dock. Maybe it's just a simple USB C dongle, that can connect to the TV, so they can still do that. Obviously, you have extra controllers, whatever. But, like, again, like, that would just really work out for a lot of people, because, like, maybe some people would just prefer to have just the smaller Switch, and that's good enough for them. And then just be able to, again, buy like a USB-C dongle, and then just, oh, cool, it's a Switch.
And then the last thing I want to mention is Persona 5S finally got revealed as Persona 5 Scramble: The Phantom Strikers, which is a Warriors game, or a Muso game.
Yeah!
Don, are you a Muso fan?
Yeah!
See, my first Muso game, I think, was Samurai Warriors 3. I played with a friend of mine, and then I didn't buy another game. I didn't play another game in the series until Hyrule Warriors, and then after that, Fire Emblem Warriors. I think this is a pretty cool fit for Persona 5. We'll have a lot of style going with it. I think some people are a little disappointed that it's not just Persona 5. It's a new game,
Yeah.
so
But then you would have to complain about people saying, "Oh, we're just getting vanilla Persona 5," and
not
do
the
people
Royal.
really want that either?
Yeah.
Like
Honestly, I think this
I'm
is the best
okay with
outcome.
this. I'm okay with having a bunch of stylized characters doing stylized move in the most peculiar setting possible.
Yeah. So I think this is gonna. Honestly, it's gonna sell well.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't expect this to be a dud.
By the way, the Warriors franchise is basically the Borg of video games.
The what of video games?
The Borg, you know, the enemies from Star Trek. that
Oh, the
try to
Borg. I thought you were
yeah.
saying Borg, but I was like, is he?
Yeah, that tries to assimilate every single video game franchise in it.
Ah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Brandon, you need to watch TNG.
One day.
We are the Borg. Resistance is futile, and then they just plug in and say, this franchise now belongs to us.
Yeah, where's our Animal Crossing Muso game?
Where is our Xenoblade Muso game?
That's the easy
Oh, that's
one.
also a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
What else could we Muso?
Wasn't there a rumor of a
Everything
Mario
goes
Muso?
with Muso. Super Mario Muso.
Splatoon Muso.
I want to Muso the
Oh.
Break Room Arcade.
Oh?
What are our enemies?
Bad
The comment
equipment.
section?
That's the
Yetis
entirety
with
of the
4
internet.
USB cables.
Yeah, something like that. But that is pretty much it as far as all of the news is concerned for Nintendo stuff this week. I was very happy to see that they had the financial briefing because otherwise we were going to have like maybe 2 things to talk about. And Donna,
Hey, we could have gone with ideas for Muso games for half.
that's the sequel to this episode.
Well,
Yeah.
that's just no. That's like that's the secret to like the formula, right? Is when you realize you're just like we don't have a lot. That's when you realize you can rant. And if there's anything I'm good at, it's at running my mouth, right? So those are the ones that are really thriving. And so like if you can just list off like different non-existent Muso games for 50 minutes and people find that entertaining, then that's a valid Nintendo stuff episode right there.
Yeah.
It's still
I also
I'm
have to
looking forward-
realize,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
inclusive all the Japanese stuff, there are now 15 plus Muso games on Switch.
that's crazy to me. Logan, your face.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Like, I was kind of making jokes like, oh, let's see what else, but I'm like, 50 already?
yeah.
Oh man.
There are a lot of Muso games, and they extend even outside of just video game characters. There's a One Piece Warriors, a series of One Piece Warriors games. Gundam.
There's Attack on Titan.
I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah,
Is that really a Muso game?
yeah. Everything is a Muso game outside of just some the basic mechanic changes.
Super Smash
Super
Brothers is a
Mario
Muso game.
Party is a Muso game.
That's
Super
the most
Smash
controversial
Bros.
thing
is a
I've
Muso
ever
game.
heard. I like it.
Where's the Super Smash Bros. Muso game?
That's what Santi's saying in the chat.
What the heck?
And what do we get-
Nintendo, pay me money. That was amazing. That was like, listen to that. Like, how would that sell?
That's how you get your subspace.
Imagine if World of
cutscenes.
Light was like that, but a Muso game, but in those environments.
All right, we gotta shut it down. I'm getting too excited. No more.
We're making ourselves hopeful, and we need to reel it in a little bit. Bring it back.
We just you gotta let it out of the bag every once in a while, but you gotta make sure to reel it in real quick. Oh no, my life is miserable because I want all these things that'll never exist because they're too idealistic, and Nintendo's not gonna hear my voice. Which is really, really, really the reason why this podcast exists. It's like propaganda for Nintendo.
So
it's like
we can tell
Nintendo,
them
this
what we
is
want.
exactly what you should do. So we're trying to dictate what Nintendo should do. And so,
Hey, man,
guys, if we build this, we can make this happen.
As far as Japan is concerned, the next step up would be like a Muso game with Monster Hunter characters or something like that. I don't know.
Hey,
Oh.
you're speaking in my heart now. That's the dream.
Or Final Fantasy. They already did Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Final
Oh,
Fantasy.
yeah,
would
they
be a good
did.
one.
Yeah,
I also like
it did rank first 2
Cloud.
times.
Man, speaking to my heart. In all
Yeah.
the right places. Dragon Ball Z, Muso, I'd buy that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That almost is too perfect on its own. Like, why doesn't
Yeah.
that exist already?
Jojo Muso.
Jojo Muso,
Jojo Muso.
Naruto Muso.
Everything will be a Muso.
Marvel Muso.
That's just Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
I was gonna say, like, that exists already. So I want to thank you, Don, for joining us here for Nintendo.
No worries at all. No worries at all.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on the Twitters at NintenDaan, which is NintenDaan.
And there's a YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, there's YouTube channels. NintenDaan 1 is my YouTube channel. There is Game Explain, Go Nintendo, Nintendo World Report, all the usual places, but you can find links to that all on my Twitter.
And there's a link to your YouTube channel and your Twitter in the description below for all those watching.
Woo!
So, going through the motions, you can find me at Babs. You can find Logan at Loggy Dubs. You can find us as a collective at Breakroom Arcade. If you want to keep up with the conversation, you can join our Discord. There's a link to that in the description. And if you really like what we do here, if you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, we'd really appreciate that as well. And if you really, really like what we do here, there is a link to our Patreon in the description below. You can donate as little as $1 a month to help keep the show moving. It helps us do cool things like get new microphones and build podcast tables, like in the background here.
And make Muso games.
Yes, the Breakroom Muso coming 2047
No, it's gonna be sooner
for the
than that.
Nintendo Switch
believe.
17. It's the 17th
It's Switch 17.
Switch 17, baby.
So yeah, make sure to come back next Saturday, same time, for the next episode of Nintendo Stuff, episode 39. Paul will be back for that one. Everybody tell him how much you missed him. And then if Don, you're welcome to join us again if you'd like.
Sure, yeah.
So you don't have to miss Don. The whole gang will be here.
Woo.
That was such
That was
like
fun. I had a good time.
a tiny woo. Yeah,
Woo.
so thanks everybody for checking us out. We really love what we do here. We will see you next time. Don't break your backs. Break in the games. But for now, break time's over.
Goodbye, friends. Join our Discord.